All right, can you
Hey,
guys hear
everybody.
us now? It's fun. All right, I'll just go again, assuming that we have sound. All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for our developer AMA. We'll go ahead and pass it over to Kimo. I guess you guys can probably already know who we are, but if you haven't, we have.
We've introduced ourselves multiple times also.
Yeah. All right, cool. They can hear us. All right, so yeah, we'll jump back into it again. Kimo, take it away.
Cool. So yeah, getting back to it. As you can see, we now have a way in the build to message updates to you guys. So when we make changes, you'll be able to see them here. To go over some of the major ones right now that's happening is the Kraken and the Mimic got some pretty big nerfs. The Mimic, the way it was being used as a single creature, it felt it was just hitting too hard. Like while you're basically, I understand the strategy of like waiting for it to die and trying to exploit its passive, but during that process, it was just dishing out too much damage. Like the trade was too strong, so it's going to do a little less damage. So if you're still trying to use that strategy, it's somewhat viable. It's just not as powerful.
And then you almost want it as your second creature now, right? Like you want to buff it somehow so it survives a little longer, or no, you just want to kill it off faster. Like what do you how would it change in its usage, you feel?
Yeah, I think like it's just it's weakened, right? So someone that's facing it is not going to be at like such a disadvantage. Like they're not going to lose a whole creature in the exchange there. You probably, if you want it to deal the damage, you need to buff it in some way.
Right. And then make it like basically a target for the opponent, right? Like you got to make it a viable target again, right? Got it. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and then the Kraken was just like dropping bombs at the end of a game. Like its passive was a little too powerful, and it's super high magic damage combined with its passive. Like you brought it out in those 3 turns. Like you used everything that you had. There was no downside to him really. So he is very tanky. He kept his like tanky status as a caster that has a high health. But I just brought his damages down a little bit, which still leans into it. Like he still relies on his passive to get the big damage that he had. Just once the passive wears off, he's going to be a little bit weaker. And also the passive only lasts for 2 turns now. So there's a better chance of it actually running out before he dies or the game's over.
Right. Okay. But you're not nerfing the passive itself. He still spikes like the attacks, right? Pretty significant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still the same amount of buff increase in damage. It's just one turn.
Right.
Less duration.
Right. Okay.
And kind of in line with these like heavily used characters, the Bright Step Charger, I lowered his defenses a little bit. He is a real strong attacker, and just wanted to make it a little bit easier to get him off the board. And same with the Merfolk Spear Maiden. Like she's a magic damage dealer, so it lowered her hit points a little bit. To kind of counteract some of her heals, and lowered her physical attack. So when you're drawing cards with her, you really have to rely a little bit more on her magic attack than her physical attack. Buffs wise, I'm trying to remove some of the random chance stuff from passives. So a few of the characters that had like a 50% chance for something to happen, I've tuned that to 100. We'll see how it goes.
Whoa. Okay.
I'd like to get to a point where there's no random chance on any of the passives as I'm tweaking more passives in the game, but this is the first test of that. So now the Crag Runner, one of my favorite eyeball guys, the eyeball guy, he kind of has like an effect where once you use him, he his attacks become cheaper, and it's like a guaranteed. So you can plan like, okay, my second attack is going to cost this much, and he can like kind of get a steamroll action that way.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been something you've been working on, right? Just getting the combination of luck and skill to be a little more on the skill side, right? Like you're not still completely happy with how much randomness in the game there is, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'd like for you to be able to plan your moves, right? So when we have these coin flip abilities, like they sound fun on paper, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's just too random.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see what else is in here. Taking feedback from the last playtest, I've added heal to a couple of the regen cards. Can look at them right now. So you see the mending of wood tech. I'm not sure that I'm saying that right. Rob's not here to correct me. And delicious fruits. They'll both grant heal on cast in addition to the regen. So their cost went up a little bit to account for that, but now you'll have the immediate heal effect, so that hopefully they don't die before the regen takes off.
Are you worried in any way this lengthens the match, or this is just so infrequent that it doesn't really matter?
I'm not too worried about it.
Okay.
It might lengthen the match a little bit, but I think if someone's trying to build a healing deck, like
right, that's true.
You want it to be effective. So
yeah, it's true.
And then just a lot of cost updates to cards. I don't know if this is readable, but you'll be able to read it in game when the playtest starts. But most of the physical attack action cards have been reduced by 5 or 10 energy cost, and a handful of the magical attack cards have gone up in cost.
You really hate magic. This is the hate magic playtest.
We'll see how it changes the meta.
Yeah.
Then I think we've been getting some questions about how some of these cards that you see duplicated are working. So like Saints Resolve, a 25 cost magic attack, and Magical Charge, a 30 cost magic attack. So to differentiate these better and to make it more clear kind of the intent of where the game is going as we move forward, is that like this 25 cost magic attack is an Enchanter card, whereas the 30 cost one is a Spellweaver card. So you should expect to see more of this as we add more cards to the game, where they do have identical effects, but who can equip them and how much they cost varies. And hopefully we can get some interesting combinations that way.
So the balance is like the stats on the person who can equip one card versus the other. Overall, just equals out, right? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to create synergy between the equipper and the cards they can equip, I say. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Another feedback thing that no one got to play with it yet, but we were already getting feedback just from talking about it, is the timer. Only having a maximum of 60 seconds per turn didn't seem like enough. Depending on what you did in your turn, there are some issues with players just running out of time, not having enough time internally. So for this playtest, I've extended it so that it'll be a maximum of 75 seconds. It's a base of 30. You'll always have 30 seconds for every turn. And then whenever time is left over and you hit end turn, that kind of gets saved, stored, similar to how the energy system works, so that if you do multiple quick turns, you save up time, and you can like save up for a longer turn later on when you've got like, a big hand to play.
Because like the first few the first few turns you kind of already know, right? It's autoplay. You know what creatures you're bringing out. You know your initial strat. It gets interesting in like turn 4, 5. That's when you're like, oh, okay, that's what he's played. That's what they have played, and then you counter. I get it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah, and I think we're still tweaking when the timer pauses or doesn't pause. I think once we get all that ironed out, we'll hone in tighter on the total time. But I'm going to see how the 75 seconds goes and how much needs to be base time versus storable time. Like, we'll be watching that, and if anyone has any feedback after this playtest, happy to change it.
Does that affect like the first turn when you like deploy a creature, or does it start at 30 as well?
It'll start at 30. Yeah, so the very first turn you'll have 30. Any saved time will get like stored into the next turn and be added on top of the 30 for the next turn.
So you want to deploy quickly instead of the person that waits really long.
Yeah. So I'm saying, so like you're getting an incentive to play quickly so that you build it up when you really need it. It's kind of interesting.
Let's see what else. That's kind of the bulk of the balance changes. I guess we could recap some of the features, or has there been any questions from the community?
There was one. Wrote it down. I think Anthony had asked how these balance changes play out in the future in regards to expansions. Which maybe you haven't thought too much about that now, but yes, down the road.
Yeah, I guess specifically to expansions, I haven't thought about too much. I think for now, in the alpha playtest, it's going to be a lot of like reacting to how people are abusing the meta.
Yeah.
Trying to spread it out in a way that there's not too dominant of a single meta, or at least there's counterplay. I feel like right now it's just like everyone was playing Magic all the time. So yeah, I'm gonna be searching for a way to counter that. I think when expansions come in the future, that'll be a whole new can of worms.
All right. Trying to read some more questions, but I understand what they're saying.
I don't think that's doing that. I can show. We have a player profile now. It's pretty basic, but it'll keep track of the things you own and the last deck that you used. And you'll be able to view other players' profiles and see what decks they were using as well. So
that's cool.
That's a big one. So can it is it able to see what's in what you currently have, or is that just the playtest version has all those creatures and that's what your player account currently has, right?
Yeah, this is because of the playtest where it's just like one of everything at the moment.
Gotcha.
We don't have the Nifty integration yet.
Right.
Yeah, once we get that, they should reflect that. Yeah, but yeah, the like looking at the top players and what the last deck that they use.
That's cool.
Pretty fun. That's going to be pretty fun. Yeah,
it's more insight than you normally get, I feel.
Yeah.
When someone beats you, yeah.
Oh, and something else, we haven't tested this because we don't have access to like but I think Cade and his team, they've been testing the little icon that shows up from the Gala account, and that works, right, Cade? Like we haven't tested it.
Yeah, your player profile picture can be on there. Yeah.
Nice.
from your Gala account. Yeah.
Yeah. From the Gala.
No more entering a name the first time you launch the game, right? It'll just be your Gala username now.
Yeah. Which also like sort of is, we don't have it yet, but now we can actually save your progress in your account going forward. We don't know when we'll get that yet, but that's the foundation at least for that system. So this is kind of exciting as well.
So other big news, we have a settings menu now.
Ooh, that's a big one.
With these graphic options, you can set your resolution and windowed mode. I know this was
yeah. This is like from the first playtest. Like that was the first thing. It's like, hey, how do you do windowed mode? We're like, go into the shortcut and like put in this weird code, and that's how you do it. Like, okay, well, we finally got it. Anyways,
I think
it was
the
harder
streamers
than
will be
we
happy.
thought it would be. You know, like somehow it was like the engineers were like, no, this is not easy, guys. And we're like, what do you mean? It's super easy. Anyways, we got it.
It's just a button.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Like we can do through like why can't you just put that little string in like some code somewhere? Like somehow works. Anyways.
Do you want to go? Did you see the event carousel? Did you go through all those yet, or the little main screen?
Oh yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I said we have these basic pop-ups for things like balance updates. It can also link to external sites, so it won't show up on the stream, but when I click on this, it'll take me to the player handbook.
Yeah, I mean, but basically this will give us the ability to live operate the game in an effective way, right? You don't have to go to Discord to get on the news. You just you just like start up the game, and if there's anything important, we tell you right there. It'll also be really relevant for the next build, which I'll talk about a little later. But yeah, this is all in preparation for us to eventually live operate the game. So it's a good step.
We have a secondary, if it's a real important message, like how important QA is to us. We have this extra banner down here. It'll probably announce things like if a server is going down, the end of the playtest, things like that.
I think we're going to talk about the leaderboards next, or
yeah. I think the only problem here is there's nobody in the leaderboards right now. But yeah. But yeah, I guess the reset. I guess that's big. We're still trying to fix it, but yeah.
And is it going to reset a few times during the playtest duration? Right.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think we want to do a reset every 3 to 4 days. So the leaderboard resets and it's a fresh competition. That's what we were missing, I think, last time, which is why we ended the playtest a little earlier than we wanted. So this time, I think we have an additional feature which can allow us to run a longer playtest. But we don't know the exact dates yet, but it'll be longer than last time, I think. Yeah, safe to say. If we don't get this feature fixed though, because we're still seeing a few issues with it, then we might go back to a shorter playtest. But if this is fixed, we're having at least 3 to 4 resets in the playtest. So we'll see.
Nice. All right. And do we have any questions after that? I guess from Shadow Knight, with the balancing, has there been any changes to energy costs for drag attacks, or is all the same from the past playtest?
Drag attack costs will all be the same currently. Yeah. That is something that I want to explore more. So nothing is safe. I just haven't gotten to it yet. there will be changes.
Looks like someone else from YouTube asked if they're able to speak on earnings ratio between all the NFT rarities. We're not currently ready to discuss those kind of details. That'll be later on, probably closer to when we start really discussing the econ model with everyone. So,
yep,
in due time, but not just yet. I don't think there's anything else. Can the drag cost be seen in game now? I think before it wasn't on the creature. Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
No, sorry. Yeah, like how it's missing from the stat screen right here, kind of situation, right? Yeah.
I think even in I
think right now you can only see it once they're actually played onto the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very aware that that's an issue. We'd like to take care of that soon.
Yeah.
Here's another question that I think it'd be fun, but I don't know if you give it. Can you copy opponent's deck at the touch of a button? So if you play them and you're like, I want to use what they did, and just auto make that deck.
So we are actually exploring copy deck options.
Oh.
That was again feedback that we got from the first deck builder playtest. That even just copying your own deck to make variants easier to create. But I think that once we have that tech, hopefully we can incorporate it into that kind of even sharing method, right? Where people put up decks on websites or social media, those types of things, and people can import them. The only issue there is that you have to have access, right? To if they use these creatures in the deck, you need those creatures. So
Yeah.
Right. You have to you have to know right away that if you had all their NFTs and cards.
Yeah, I mean other games do it, and they sort of stub it in, and then you have to go to gacha to buy those creatures or to get those cards. But because you're a blockchain NFT game, it's a little more complicated, but it's something we want to do eventually. I mean, it makes sense in those games, right? Like this is the top deck, so you know what you're chasing, you know what you want to get to be competitive. But how we do it here is it's going to be a little tricky. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think from Chaos on Discord, he says, did you manage to fix evasion, or is it working as intended? I don't remember there being an issue with invasion in the last playtest. Not that I recall.
So this is there's evasion should evade physical attacks, and currently, if you use an action card to do a physical attack, it still strikes.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that is not fixed in this build. It will be in a future build. It was not intended to be drag attacks only. It was intended to be all physical attacks. So that does still need to be addressed. In the meantime, use those physical attack action cards. Especially the thief has a lot of evasion, so new hero.
Also, just for some context of why a few obvious things haven't been fixed, you guys must have heard the last day away. Chemo has a secret build on the side that he's working on. It has all kind of goodies, and if it's not being fixed, it's because he has other plans on how to fix it. So that's the reason some of these obvious ones are not getting fixed. It's just there is a secret build that's being worked on the side.
The secret build. I like that. All right, I think that's it for the questions that I saw.
Cool. I can just give the dev update then, so that I don't have to type it up. So yeah, I think the team continues to work on sort of the free-to-play creature rotations and on venues. So venues will be our first sort of foot into the NFT integration world, where we actually get those venues in the game. We'll probably do another session in the coming weeks where we talk about the design of those features, because like I said, once we start building it, there's no reason to not talk about it, because that's like you have set in motion your plan for how you want to build those features. So we'll do a session pretty soon. Also, interestingly, over the last 2 weeks, our team and the Gala team have been talking about play and earn systems. Not the economic model, but at least the system we would use to create play and earn systems. And I think both teams have kind of agreed on what those systems will be. So this is again a really good step forward, because now both teams have plans for what tech is required, what features are going to be built. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we also talk about the economy model. But yeah, we're making pretty good progress on all fronts. I think it's safe to say we are in the play with NFTs phase. If you guys are aware of the phases of development we're talking about, and we should be getting out of it pretty soon as well. So I'm pretty excited, because after that it's earn with NFTs phase. So yeah, but yeah, that's the dev update, and I'll link the AMA and in the dev updates channel once we get that link.
Perfect. All right, so I think we've wrapped up most of what we want to talk about. We do have one more thing to share with you guys. I don't know if you guys saw that that little image that we shared in the Discord update on Friday, but we do have a creature that you guys haven't seen yet that we're going to be selling on Thursday during the playtest duration. So this is our Onyx Dragon, the epic version. And this one will not be in any of the creature packs or the ritual stones. And it'll be just standalone in the store. So yeah, we're excited about this one. It looks really cool. I'm a big fan of dragons and haven't gotten one yet from the gachas. So I'm looking forward to this one. But yeah. Clever joke, Anthony. They must be winging this AMA.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, keep an eye. We'll have more details about this in a blog post tomorrow. But for this one, I guess for pricing, I think we're set on the pricing. For the commons, it's going to be common through legendary rarity, and the commons will start at $120 US in the amount of Gala. Can't calculate that right now. They'll be commons. We'll give you all the pricing tomorrow and so forth. But yeah, so excited to show that to you guys, and we're really looking forward to the playtest on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's always exciting to get to play finally. So
yeah, it's like I'm playing the practice mode myself sometimes. I'm like, excited for the players to come back. All right. Okay. Other than that, well, thanks so much, guys. Thank you, everyone on YouTube and Discord, everyone that's asking questions. Looking forward to seeing everyone on Thursday for the playtest. Please, if you guys have any questions, join the Discord. We're in there. Devs are in there a lot, and we're also on Twitter as well. Shoot questions there. And thanks so much. Thank you, Kimo and Govind, for joining me here.
Thanks, guys. This was fun.
All right. Till next time.